I don't have any tooth. I'll admit it. I will brag. Those players did not just go and whip that ass for us to be like, oh, good game. No, we whipped your ass. We took $800,000. Now we're partying with it.
Yeah, who cares if you're in the Power 5 conference if you don't win it, ever? Or you don't beat any of the teams in it? Like, what's the point of that? Wouldn't you rather win the conference and say, like, hey, my team is good, than lose the conference and say, well, our conference is good?
Look, they don't call me Tip for nothing. And my tip is, look out for the group of 5 this season. They've been taking it to the Power 5 year after year.
The only quarterbacks that ever get any love are from the Power 5. I could easily list off the top group of 5 quarterbacks I would rather have than those guys. I would be willing to bet that at least one of them is going to be in the running for the Heisman this year.
Down the middle, James, the lateral to the corner of the end zone. Can you believe that?
Welcome in, everybody, to an unbelievable show. We are all true blue here tonight as Middle Tennessee State grads. Another weekend in the books. Might have been crazier than that week, too. We had 4 Group of 5 over Power 5 wins this weekend. Bunch of other good games. A lot of upsets happening all over the world. Got a big show for you. We're going to go into week 4, review it a little bit, talk about top performers, top performances. We're going to preview week 5 as we really start to get into conference play. Before we go any further, if you guys have been liking the shows, like and subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of 5 Guys. And if you wanted to do us a huge favor, help us out financially, you can go to group5guys.com. All the hoodies that everybody's been wanting, they're for sale on group5guys.com. They're actually not, it's actually a pretty sweet deal. I want to say they're like $30. So you guys, if you're looking for them, you can get them in your team colors, all that, T-shirts, hoodies, a bunch of other miscellaneous items. And then if you guys would keep calling the hotline to talk trash, give your predictions, give your picks, upset picks, etc., hot takes, 615-900-4286. Let's get into the show. Let's go around the horn. Jesse Grisham, as always, I'm starting with you. How are you?
Doing good. It's hilarious how you can just put a professional face on right when he says action because you were just yelling at me. I'm doing fine, Sprouse. Had a great weekend with you in Statesboro, Georgia. Can't forget about Atlanta as well on Thursday night. Me and you had a really good weekend.
We did.
Had a good weekend of football. And, of course, we're going to say that this past weekend was better than week 2 because we're a little biased because the MTSU Blue Raiders made some magic happen this weekend. We'll get more into that later. But glad to be here, man. It's just college football.
It's awesome. Finest. It's awesome, man. Yeah. Tyler Tipton, dressed in blue as well. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm doing fantastic. And, yeah, I mean, don't know if week 4 was better than week 2. Maybe it was. But, I mean, what we can say is we are starting to see this continuous trend week over week of these group of 5 teams beating these quote-unquote Power 5 teams. It's becoming more regular, and I love it.
Yeah, you're right. And we'll get into it, too. But it's funny because of the 4, we're really only talking about 1, which means that it's not surprising anybody anymore. It's like, okay, yeah, Cincinnati won another one. UCF won another one. Miami of Ohio beat the Big Ten. But anyway, and Jeff Murphy, you had the call of the weekend.
Yes,
as
sir.
Middle goes 98 yards right after you tell the world they're about to go 98 yards. How are you?
I mean, I am riding high. My voice is hoarse from yelling. One of the best sporting events I've been to in a long, long time, guys. I mean, just to be there for that atmosphere, for Coach Stock, to see how happy he was and the players, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Just being at the Hard Rock Stadium, which was awesome as well. I mean, talk about an upset. I mean, that's incredible. The first top 25 win in Middle Tennessee's history. And, to be there to call that game was just incredible. From the opening snap, boys, and I've said this to everybody who's come to the deli today, who texted me and messaged me and called me over the weekend after that game. It has been a long time since I've seen the Blue Raiders manhandle a team up front on both sides of the ball. And from the opening snap, MTSU manhandled the Miami Hurricanes. And it was absolutely incredible to see. And I said it, Chase Cunningham Absolutely incredible game. I'll get into the stats a little bit later, but my goodness, Blue Raiders are back, boys.
I want to get more into it whenever we start
Yeah.
talking about the game, but just kind of just build up to it. I cannot wait to ask you how in the hell you knew that they were going to take a shot right there. I don't answer it yet. Let's get to it later. But that I watched that video at the bar probably 20 times, and I showed like 30 people. Just like this is the other group of 5 guys. This is the other group of 5 guys.
He's at the bar giving his AirPod to people.
Yeah, I got so many people's earwax in my earpods now because I was just letting everybody listen to it. It was awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, we got so much to talk about. I mean, that was crazy. Statesboro was phenomenal. Atlanta was a great time. I'd love to hear from the fans though, Jeff. We got a bunch of voicemails, and I just know that Stu called, and I know that Terry called, and they are not probably in good moods right now. So if you got those teed up, let's hear them.
Yeah, we'll get to them. We had a couple of new callers this week, and let me preface this by saying something. And there's one I did not cut and play because it was about 8 seconds long, and it came from a JMU fan. And look, you want to call, I'll bleep anything that you say out on the voicemail, but if you're not man enough to leave your handle or at least your name, you ain't getting played. So
Wow.
if you call and you want to dog cuss us, which is what we want, leave your name, homie, and we'll play it. That's all I ask. So,
Well,
let's
wait.
get to-
Are you
Someone
gonna
come
let
after
us?
us?
Somebody was talking about us.
Somebody called, and there were JMU fans, and literally it was only like 8 seconds, but it had about 10 profanity words in it. And
Did
yeah,
they
they're
call me
basically
fat?
no, they didn't call us
Right,
specifically,
good.
but basically the gist of it was like, you guys are this and that, and JMU is this, and screw you guys. And that's all good and fine.
Because we hate JMU. All right.
Well, I mean, it's probably some Van Gogh listener that probably caught a little bit of our podcast, and we said something about JMU or whatever. But honestly, we really haven't even bagged JMU that much. My point is,
Well, we like Jamie.
if you're gonna leave a voicemail like that, I will play it, but be man enough to leave your name. That's all I
That's what I'm
ask.
talking about, Jeff.
That's all
Let's
I
hear them.
ask. All right, let's get to the first one. We have Steel PC 51.
What's going on, group of 5 guys? This is Steeple _PC _51. Hey, I came to the GSU Coastal Carolina game. I missed you guys at State of Atlanta tent. I really wish I saw y'all. But I just wanted to say that I enjoyed the game. It was very, let's just say Coastal Carolina actually knocked them out the park. And really wanted to meet you guys. I hope I can get to see you guys. Now that y'all see that Coastal can really play with anyone, looking forward to see you guys in Conway. And let's go, group of 5.
I don't know how we missed him.
Yeah, it wasn't that many people there. But I will say this though, Coastal Carolina. If we can just talk about it now, is that okay?
Yeah, hit it.
They look good. They're big. I like their defense. I thought their defensive line, that nose guard number 15, he was huge. Was it number 15, right? Yeah, monster.
15.
My only worry is now, as I just saw breaking news that Jamie Chadwell might be looking at Georgia Tech right now. That might cause a little bit of a disruption.
Why?
Georgia Tech?
He's actually got says bearing bad weather. He's supposed to be flying to Georgia Tech on Thursday to, I guess, for an interview. Why Georgia Tech? I don't know, because that's like an ACC just pit of death, if you ask me.
Yeah, bottom.
You're gonna have to compete with Georgia, right?
Bottom dweller. You're going to be fighting the same fight you're fighting in the group of 5 going there. I mean, unless they're going to completely clean house, which I did see they were trying to clean house. Like, it's not like that's a huge athletic, investing school. The fans don't care. Yikes.
Very, very academic.
Oh, that would piss
Georgia
me
Tech.
off.
Yeah, stay.
I just read it before we got on here.
But another thing too about Coastal, because we saw him live last year in a game that was just terrible weather, and McCall didn't play. It's the first time we've seen McCall play live. Man, I'll apologize because we've been critical of that guy for the past 2 years. He's damn good, man. And when he gets going, mean, one thing that me and Jesse both saw from our seats were, first of all, they run this little option play, and he pitches it so late where it's damn near like a forward pass. And they ran it, I don't know how many times, and it worked every time. And then also, anytime Georgia State got any pressure on him, he never took his eyes off from being downfield. And every time you think, okay, most guys are going to take off or throw it away, he'd find some guy sitting underneath the zone. And I mean, that guy's the real deal. Yeah,
he's smooth,
he's
man.
a good
Like
player.
I think he's going to make it to the next level easily because he's fun to watch, and he's got a nice little right leg tattoo as well. So
he does. Must be new. We noticed that too. One other thing we noticed, in the bunch of games we've been going to the last couple of years, there was a ton of NFL scouts at that game. A ton.
God, wasn't there?
I mean, everybody was there.
There was like 7 NFL teams at least. At that game. It had to be for him.
Yeah, Senior Bowl guy was there. That was cool, man. We also saw a bunch of people, a bunch of other podcast, hosts and social media folks were all at that game. So it was a good time, man. The game was, Georgia State didn't really have much of a shot, after the first quarter or so, really the first 2 drives, but it was a good time. But go to the next one. We'll get more into the facilities review in a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it, Steeple. Keep calling in, and hopefully we'll get up to Coastal at some point and get to meet you. So
might be Sun Belt Championship in Conway.
Well. Yep, very well true. All right, let's get to the next one.
This is Kyle, JMU Duke fan and alumni. I just thank you for giving us props and giving us a little bit of confidence on the podcast. We did take MTSU to the woodshed. It was a good game for a little while. And I think all of the questions have been answered. Is JMU Dukes for real? I think we are. So let's go Dukes.
I mean, I think they're the real deal. I said it. I mean, I said it when they were 3-0 before this game. I said Todd Centeo is a hell of a quarterback. I got to see him live and in person, and they blew out our Blue Raiders, that week 1, but they did it in all phases of the game, and they looked damn good. And they showed it. They were down App State, but they came back and won that game, man. Credit to the Dukes.
Yeah, I've not been able to see them live or really on TV yet, just highlights and whatnot. But, I mean, you see it 28-3, App State's up, and you're kind of thinking, okay, well, here's your welcome to the Sun Belt. And then they just kept playing. They come back and win that game. And it's too bad that they can't play for the conference championship because they'd be in a pretty good position right now.
No doubt.
Yeah, I just have never understood that. Like the interim year, and somebody was trying to explain it to me. I think I was talking to Chip about it. And I just couldn't wrap my brain around why you have an interim year. Like if they somehow win all their conference games and they don't get to go to the championship.
Well, what if, hear me out on this. I know it's early. What if they mess around and go undefeated? Can they play in a New Year's Bowl? Is that part of it too?
I don't know.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. But anyways, appreciate it, Kyle. Appreciate the call, and keep them coming, man. Dukes look good.
Group of 5 guys, man. Terry Johnson, Cajun fan, man. I'm not calling about the Cajuns, but I'm calling about this great upset y'all's alma mater did against Middle Tennessee, bro. I'm just so happy for you guys. Like, you guys do an awesome job promoting the Group of 5. I know there's a lot of talking that goes on with Coach Stockstill and how he runs the program and his contract extension that I saw, man, and a lot of haters going out there about him and his coaching. I just want to say I'm so happy for that program and happy for that coach, man. It's awesome that he got that win against Miami, a blue blood program. Everybody was going to be all up on Miami thinking they were back, and hey, lo and behold, they're not back. That's just awesome for him and that program, and just you guys as alma mater, man. I'm so happy for you guys. I know that boy Murph was in the booth going crazy on one of those long touchdowns. I'm thinking of a 98-yard touchdown throw. That's just awesome. That's awesome, and it's just great to see the Group of 5 continues to show up, continues to play hard, and it's just a great thing to see, man. I'm speechless. I'm speechless right now. But great for y'all. Not even going to talk about my Cajuns. I haven't played yet at this point right now. Hopefully they win. I don't know. But I just wanted to call and shout out to y'all because that Middle Tennessee program is awesome. And y'all are an awesome representation of them. And Coach Stockstill is a great man and great coach. God bless Group of Five. God bless Go Cajuns.
I love Terry Johnson.
Love him.
Getting teary-eyed thinking about that.
Well, what he's saying about Coach Stock, and Jeff preached on it all about last week, but I put just some kind of fun tweet together at like halfway through a cigar, kind of just bullshitting, and I decided to put like, best Group of Five, perfect team kind of deal, and I had like, App State fans, Colorado State facilities, but I put Rick Stockstill as a head coach, and I can't tell you how many people were like messaging me saying like, wow, this guy don't know football, this guy's ridiculous, embarrassing, Rick Stockstill's a horrible coach. Eat it.
Yeah, and you know what people are going to say? Oh, it's Miami. They were barely even a top 25 team, all this stuff. It's one thing if they would have, been behind most of the game, hung around to the fourth quarter, and then stole it at the end. That's not what happened. They dominated it from the opening play. Opening kick, opening play, they dominated in an incredible fashion in Miami at the Hard Rock. I mean, and you could tell, and it's honestly, I'm not going to lie, it's a look I haven't seen in Stock in a while. Like, he wanted that game bad. And you could tell his demeanor on the sideline, like he smelled blood in that third quarter. And he was like, we're taking this team down. We're not letting them climb back, because they pulled out their starter, Tyler Van Dyke. And the crowd was booing that kid. I felt bad for that kid. They brought in Garcia, the backup, and the crowd went nuts, and it brought him back into it a little bit. You get the crowd back into it. They start going, a couple big plays started going. And let me say this, damn ACC crew refs,
they were horrible.
Goodness. And I'm not usually one to sit back and complain, but every time there was a critical third down or fourth down, it was either a review of a play or it was some type of defensive penalty. So they were climbing back in it. They stopped them on fourth down. They're on their 2-yard line. They get the ball. Everybody was pressed up. I said, they're going to take a shot here. And, boy, Chase Cunningham threw a perfect ball to DJ England Chisholm and outran the Miami defender. I mean, he burned him. It was incredible.
Well, Terry said it too. It's something about beating, and you guys know, I grew up a Miami fan. It's something about beating one of the blue bloods too. And Miami's probably not that anymore, but there's something about beating, and nobody's beat Alabama in a while, or nobody's beat Georgia in a while, but these teams that are beating Nebraska, now Miami, the Texases of the world, those are, and on the road too, and like we've all said, like smacked them. Right from the kickoff, just whipped them. You got to love it for stuff. There's nobody in the world that deserves that win more than Rick Stockstill. Nobody.
Yep, I agree. All right, now we got a follow-up call from our boy Terry Johnson. This was post
swing of emotions. Huh?
Yes, you see it here. Post Cajun game.
Hey, Group of Five guys, it's Terry Johnson again, calling after my Cajuns the bed against Louisiana Monroe, and just wanted to say that after 4 games, I realized what we are, and we're not a good team. I'm not going to pretend like we're a good team. The staff has really not called a good game. Receivers dropping balls. It's just been looking. So, I called, preseason saying that, we were going to be, 8, 9, 10 games. Don't see that right now. Changing my mind. Hopefully Dez figures it out. It is tenure as head coach. I love him, and I want nothing but the best for him. But yeah, we're not a good team, and the West is up for grabs. Troy, South Al, who knows is going to win it. Really exciting league, the Sun Belt. You don't know who's going to win. That's why you love Group of Five football, right? But just want to say that I was wrong about how the season's going to go for the Cajuns. I love them. I'll still watch every game, and I'm still going to cheer for them. I love those guys out there. That's what a true fan does. And, I'm not going to give up on them. God bless Group of Five. God bless Group of Five guys. Go Cajuns. You have a great day.
They just lost so much, man. It's hard to replace all that. I mean, why?
Let's hear the all-knowing Jesse Grisham.
I'm just saying, and I love how y'all are all now like they just lost so much.
We all
we understand they're not that good.
You
all on that bandwagon.
Don't go back and listen to the show.
all of three of us said that the West, you now have Troy. We thought Texas State, probably wrong. That turns out it looks like it's going to be
I
South
don't think
Alabama.
I'll get to that later.
We-
I don't think so.
We
but
all thought Louisiana was not going to be as good. Now, I don't think anybody thought they were going to lose to La Monroe and Rice,
Fair.
but nobody came on here and said they were going undefeated. Not one of us. I've been on.
No one said I know you said they're going undefeated. But
Well,
I mean, about 2 episodes ago, you were saying how they were probably going to win the West.
I remember bragging about their 15-game winning streak, and then I also remember saying that there was a lot of turmoil amongst the fan base, and a lot of people weren't happy with the new coaches and all that. But hey, man, you're right. Dig up the receipts, Jess. Eastern Michigan looked good against them, though, huh?
Oh, didn't they? I'm still riding with Texas State. I think
They
they got
lost
some
again,
things
too.
figured out. I still think Texas
No, but
State's going to win the West.
in all seriousness, I mean, say what you want about the coach. That's the hardest thing to do in the world, is to replace somebody that everybody loved and that had that much success there. It's impossible. And he did. He took his staff with him.
Yeah.
He took a lot of the players with him. They lost. You lose a veteran quarterback.
Not even a veteran. Levi Lewis he was there like 5 years. I mean, starter for 5 years or something crazy like that.
But Rice and Monroe.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I talked to Lee DeLeon, was at Louisiana, and we were walking off the plane, and I said, "Oh boy." He goes, "What?" I said, "Louisiana just lost to Monroe." He goes, "They're going to burn the city down." He said, "One thing you do not do is lose to Monroe."
Yeah, me and Jesse were walking up the stairs at Nats Landing in Statesboro, and we're like, "Oh, what game is this?" Oh my God, Monroe is beating Louisiana. But,
I'm just going to give kudos to La Monroe. You know, we already are over here. You sound like Miami fans losing to MTSU. Like, oh my God, lost to MTSU. No, man, give Louisiana Monroe credit. They played well. Their offense dominated Louisiana. So that's the way I see it.
They did.
Louisiana fans over here. You got to be a group of 5 fans, guys. You can't just be rooting for Louisiana the whole time.
We're not ready to take that on air, pal. You better bite your tongue before you open up a door that you don't want to be open.
Next voicemail.
All right, last voicemail we got, our boy. This is a whole different energy than last time. Our boy Stu's right from Twitter.
Hey guys, Stu's right from Twitter here. I'm there for the good times. I got to be there for the bad times. Monday morning and sitting out in front of the office trying to decide if I want to go in or not. Probably will.
Probably will.
Tough weekend. Blow a 28-3 lead. Scored 28 points in the second quarter was great, but when you can't score anymore, hard to win a ball game, especially against a good team. James Madison looked really good. Centeo looked really good. Struggle continues. I don't really know what to say. James Madison's good, and they played better than us on Saturday. Try to get them again this week. Oh, well. Go Apps.
Appreciate you, Stu, as always.
Yeah, I feel like his energy's getting worse and worse each Saturday.
I mean, they have just App's been playing with fire, and it kind of caught up with them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, football gods have graced them too.
Oh, yeah.
So they had to. It was going to burn out. But I mean, who they got this weekend? Who they got?
Citadel. Oh, App State or
App State.
Yeah, they got the Citadel.
Okay, well, so jump back on the horse, right? We'll be all right.
Well, you just hope that's a game right there that they learn from. You know, I mean, learn from what happened in that second half during that comeback. And I honestly, it's a really tough loss, but that's something I feel like can help them here for the rest of the season.
Well, and here's the deal: when you look at the conference, I don't know. That's a question for somebody a little smarter than me. Does a loss to James Madison count? Tipton or Jeff? Does a loss to James Madison count against the conference record the same way a loss to? Because Marshall lost to Troy, so they've got a conference loss too, and now App's got a conference loss.
It's East and West. That's how. Well, okay, I'm going to answer this from experience from 10 years ago in Conference USA. I mean, whoever you lost to in your East or West, that you can lose to West team.
He's talking about because James Madison's in the interim year.
Well, they're in the East though, aren't they? They're still technically the East.
No,
that's
but
my
they're
question though.
yeah.
If James Madison goes undefeated, they can't play for the conference title. So does a loss to James Madison still affect you the same as a loss to anybody else?
I would think so, but you didn't ask me.
But it,
so.
According to the ESPN standings, it does count as a conference win.
and then it would be App and Marshall got to play, and not to say App and Marshall are the only teams in the East, but the tiebreaker would go, like Jesse was saying, right? Because James Madison is in the East.
Yeah.
Versus Marshall losing to Troy in the West. Still counts as a conference loss, but when it comes down to a tiebreaker, I would imagine that's how it would go.
Yeah, I would think so.
We gotta get.
Well, they got to beat Coastal for it. They were
Still a lot of football left. Yeah,
Coastal is undefeated right now.
A lot of
season.
Yeah, a lot of season. But never too early to start thinking about that. Stu, man, thanks for calling in. Sorry you're going through it like that.
Hope we made it
They'll
to work.
They'll be back up.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Can we think of another team or season? I mean, we're only 4 games in. How much of an emotional roller coaster these App State fans have gone through these first 4 games? I mean, my goodness.
There's only two undefeated Group of 5 teams left. James Madison and Coastal.
Yeah. Wow.
So the Coastal's our only hope.
Yeah.
Make a playoff run.
Yeah.
That's it for the voicemails, right, Jeff?
Yep, that's it. Appreciate you guys calling in. Keep them coming, fellas.
Yeah, keep them coming. That number 615-900-4286. Gonna get into the Week 4 headlines. This show is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you deposit for your first time, Prize Picks will match you up to $100 if you use our code GOFG. We talked about most of this stuff a little bit ago. I'm so sorry. I'm passing you up, Jesse. Atrocious Award.
This works out perfect. It works out perfect because I'm going to lead into Jeff right here. My Atrocious Award, what I have here, I'm not going to go into a huge 2-minute spiel and just talk everybody's ears off. But we're in Week 4 right now in college football, and we've talked about it already a lot, and we're going to keep talking about it because MTSU just beat the living shit out of Miami. And not only they went in there, stole Miami's girlfriend, and kissed their mom right in front of them. It was an embarrassment for Miami, for any football team that gets beat like that. I'm talking about it could be anybody against anybody. But what really gets on my nerves, I know these guys as well, is whenever you hear the next day, because I was fired up driving back from Statesboro, Georgia. I was going to listen to ESPN the whole way because I knew they were going to be talking about the Miami game. Well, I set myself up for disaster because what do they talk about? They don't give MTSU credit. They always say that the same thing, the same line that I always hate. Well, not to try to take anything away from MTSU, but you are taking away from MTSU. These guys go out there and just beat Miami. And MTSU gave up a freaking kick return after that 98-yard touchdown. It should have been a 21, 24-point win. I mean, it was a bloodbath. But they're going to now just talk about Miami. Oh, Miami went to Texas A&M. And they got their head kicked in by a bad Texas A&M team, and they just decided they just go walk on the field and beat MTSU. They even said on the radio, they said, MTSU, back in early or late 2010s, yeah, they were a pretty good ball club. It's been a while since then. What are you talking about? MTSU has beaten Maryland twice. They beat Syracuse. They beat Missouri. They beaten Georgia Tech. They've beaten a lot of Big Ten teams. Power 5 teams. And then they go into Miami and just whip the shit out of them. So this whole deal, not take credit away. It's like, okay, this guy's dating the hottest girl in school, but he's missing his big toe. Who gives a shit? This team is a very, very good ball club for MTSU. So I think it's atrocious on how we try to just take away from the quote unquote upsets by saying, hey, not taking anything away from these guys, but it just grinds my gears a little bit. Jeff, how was the game? It's atrocious. It's atrocious.
It was that's what you just said it was. It was incredible from start to finish. I hadn't seen the Blue Raiders play that brand and quality of football in a long, long time, and it was awesome to watch. It really was. It was awesome to call. It was awesome to call that game.
From 2 guys in Statesboro, Georgia, drinking a couple adult beverages, and then I just sound like, let's check the score real quick, see how it's looking, and I'm seeing 17-0. I'm like, the game just started. It's like, what is going on here? Man, that fired us up. We had all the tailgaters.
We did.
Knowing what was going on in Miami.
We sure did.
And the D-line, again, the defensive line for MTSU has just set the tone the last 3 games. They have set the tone, and it just has given the offense, defense, and special teams this fire and momentum, man. And if they can keep that going, it's like a heavyweight boxer with an incredible hook. and it could just come at any time, and it could flip the script in the game. And let me tell you, Miami was great, but this Friday night in Murfreesboro at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium, you got the San Antonio Roadrunners coming in. They better pack Johnny Red Floyd Stadium because they're going to need every home field advantage that they can get.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're Middle, you got to get over the Miami win yesterday, and you got to be ready. You got to get ready for that game because Zachary Franklin and them guys, he ain't no statue like old Tyler Van Dyke is back there. So they better be ready.
Well, MTSU, they need to move on. Like I said in my tweet today, like move on, get ready for UTSA. But as fans, we can keep basking in this. And I have to say watching the highlights of that game, it is so funny to me to watch a MTSU receiver just blow by South Florida Miami DBs. They couldn't catch him. They could not catch him. It was stunning. It was stunning. I couldn't believe it. I don't know. Maybe the Miami players were just like, damn, bro. I mean, they were not even trying to tackle the guy.
I think they got hit in the mouth and
I didn't know what to do. Yeah, and it was funny because I was watching the film. I have access to the film, so I can do some study. And I noticed, I was like, man, against Southern Miss, they played all man coverage 1-on-1. Against Bethune-Cookman, they made man coverage 1-on-1. Texas A&M, they played a lot more zone. So it's like it was almost like they were like, our athletes are better than your guys, so we can play man coverage, and you're not going to beat us. And that's how they came out. They played man coverage, man free, pretty much a ton of the game, and they got burned over and over and over again. It was incredible to watch. They came in and were so cocky. I think they just thought that they could roll out there on the field, and Middle took it to them.
I'm not being a smart ass here. I got to keep going with this. I'm not being a smart ass here, but are you like basically like Tony Romo now? Are you like watching film before the games and then you see the right formation and you just say, oh, they're going to take a shot right here? I still get dude, Chip does a great job.
Chip's awesome.
Let you take some pre-snap, talking about coverages because that was amazing.
Well, I mean, you get down in that
when
situation.
the play's made, Chip needs to get excited like he always does because he has a really good excited voice.
He does.
He does a really good job with
in that situation. I mean, there's really only a couple things you can do as an offensive coordinator. You can either try and pound the rock off the goal line, which most defenses are looking for anything short. Is what they're doing. They want that safety, especially in that situation. So it's like it depends how the defense comes up. They had everybody in the box. You had man covers on the outside. It's like, let's take a shot. That's what you got to do. He either gonna make it, you miss it, or hopefully you can get a penalty and then you get free 15 yards. But boy, DJ ran right by him, and Chase had all the time in the world. Great job by the O-line, and just threw a perfect ball.
I would think the safe play though. Well, what down was that?
First down. Yeah, they just stopped him on fourth down.
Four downs. They stunned them. There was like fourth and goal. Like they could not get they couldn't get a touchdown. But I mean, I thought the safe play would be if you're not going to run the ball, like a slant pattern maybe or something. I mean, we're just going to go 4 verts. Got him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like in that situation, man, you're on the road. And what do we always say? Don't play not to lose, play to win.
Yep.
That's a play to win decision right there. And it freaking, I almost jumped out of the damn booth.
I got two things, and then we got to move on.
Yeah.
We could talk about Middle for 2 hours, but that's exactly right, Jeff. That's what we always say is, and what typically happens in those scenarios, especially for whatever reason, Group of 5 versus Power 5, you're up 2 touchdowns, time's winding down, you start playing real conservative, and you know what would have happened? They run the ball 3 times, get no yards, shank a punt, Miami scores on the next play, and then they end up losing by a touchdown or 2. But they did not do that. They played aggressive. They played to win. And then going back to Jesse's point, one other thing that's pissing me off is on this AP poll, here we are seeing Texas A&M just climbing right back up there. Why? Because they beat number 11 Miami, but then Miami loses to Middle Tennessee, and, well, Miami's not that good. That's what happened. And then so it's just all is forgiven when A&M loses to App State, and really, what they beat Miami like 17-9.
Yeah,
well, they did beat number 7 Arkansas too, but that's different. I know what you're saying though.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. They beat number 7 Arkansas. Was it at A&M? Was it at Arkansas? I think it was at Arkansas.
I don't know.
But okay, that's fine. But Cincinnati barely loses to that same Arkansas team at Arkansas week 1. Cincinnati just, oh, they're done. Get them out. Get them out of the top 25. And A&M just they climbed like 4 points this week. Yeah, so middle over Miami was the one of 4 group of 5 wins over Power 5. You had Miami of Ohio beat Northwestern. That one's kind of forgotten, but shout out to Miami, Ohio. They're still playing good without Gabbert playing quarterback. So,
and you had a special team come through. Finally, we had a special teams like actually work out to win the game.
Yep. UCF beat Georgia Tech. I think everybody expected that. Georgia Tech just burned their entire athletic administration down after that game. Cincinnati beat Indiana. We knew that was coming too. It's good to see Cincinnati and UCF win when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Especially UCF hasn't quite done that this year. In Cincinnati now, it's expected. I mean, nobody's even last year when they beat Indiana, it was such a huge win for them, and now it's just part of it for them. The other headlines, we already hit James Madison over App State. James Madison proving they belong right with everybody else right away. And then low-key game, man, Troy over Marshall. And that's a tough loss for Marshall. Now that's 2 straight losses for them. But Troy, big bounce-back win. Carlton Marshall, 18 tackles. Y'all see his helmet after the game?
It was incredible. They said they're going to put it in like the Hall of Fame, like whatever area at Troy.
Do you remember back in the day you play like Pop Warner, and if somebody just had a ton of other color paint on their helmet, you would just assume that guy could hit or whatever? I hadn't seen a college player's helmet look like that ever.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, so he became the Sun Belt all-time leading tackler after that game, and we still got 8 games left.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, and if anybody else can make the trip down, but Jess, I am real fired up to go to Troy. Not this weekend, next weekend.
Troy, Alabama, gonna be fired up for it, man. Not Sunbelt West. They got a good weekend. I mean, besides Louisiana, but I mean, you look at Southern Miss too, going to Tulane. My Green Wave.
Yeah,
Jeff called it last week. They're undefeated, and then there comes old Southern Miss.
Yep.
Golden Eagle
seems to be the theme, man. You get these big wins, and then you get the kind of the next week. And I don't even want to say it was a letdown. I mean, Southern Miss played Miami tough the 2 weeks prior. So Southern Miss, they've had a tough schedule, but they pretty good team now.
Yeah. So Southern Miss, Mike Tyson, Southern Mississippi. Southern Miss is off this week, and then they're at Troy next week. Troy has got Western Kentucky this week, so but looking forward to that October 8th game. Troy and Southern Miss should be really good. I'm real excited to go to that. Before we hit some of these reviews of Atlanta and Statesboro, got to give a shout out to Birch Tax Services right there in Murfreesboro, Middle Tennessee area. If you're looking for somebody come tax season, holler at Austin Birch. Birch Tax Services. Nice and easy for you. So Atlanta and Statesboro, me and Jesse had a great weekend.
Spring on my chair.
So Atlanta, Georgia State, man, shout out to Jenny Thompson. She hooked us up with a tour. If you guys don't know, a lot of people give them crap for it. They play in the old Turner Field. But honestly, it's pretty damn cool. They got a lot of history in there still. They've put all of their football facilities now in that stadium. So they practice there, they lift there, their locker rooms are there, their meeting rooms are there.
Sprouse, they sure as hell would not be giving them hell if they went and actually saw these facilities because it's top notch. Top notch. Yeah. If you're a recruit, you go to Georgia State, it'd be hard to say, oh, I don't want to play there. I mean, Jeff got to visit Colorado State, and we saw the pictures, but I promise you those meeting rooms at Georgia State have got to be up there. It was nice. Real nice.
Yeah, and so we get to walk, and this is a pretty funny story. We get to walking through, and the coaches are all in their offices getting ready for the game, and Sean Elliott is in his office, door shut, curtains down, door locked, blasting some death metal music pregame. Just like, and you could just see him in there moving around. You see his like silhouette. I mean, that guy.
Oh, what's that song?
Get it going.
What do you say? I'm not like the others. What do you say? I'm not like another one. I swear he was in there jamming,
just going nuts, man. Feel bad for that guy. I mean, they're we talked about it. It seems like they're a couple years behind. They just need some support in that city, man.
That's all it is.
Because there wasn't hardly anybody there. The tailgate, we met up with the people the very first people that we met up with as the group of 5 guys, the Fireballers, State of Atlanta. Shout out to them. Somehow or another, we didn't see Steeple PC, but
I think they're close, Sprouse. When I think I told you this when we were there. When I think of them and Georgia Southern, I think of App State and Charlotte. Georgia Southern, App State, they have a really good following. Charlotte's got a really good following too, but Georgia State just hasn't got there yet with that city. They do have some loyal fans, and shout out those guys that are loyal to Georgia State. Love Georgia State.
Yeah,
but they're missing that the student factor like Charlotte has.
Yeah,
and that all comes together when they all get it figured out. And that recruiting bed they have in Atlanta, I'm confident that look out for Georgia State in the near future.
Yeah, and they've got a couple new college apartments right there next to the stadium. That's where all the athletes live. And then they've got, I think it's Georgia Avenue. It's a neighborhood called Summer Hill that has, I mean, just in the 2 or 3 years since we've been there, they've added 4 or 5 new restaurant bar type places. They've got patios where you can get a drink. They've got to connect the two, because you go over there to Summer Hill and get a drink, and doesn't really seem like a college football kind of area, and it's literally across the street. You literally could walk. I mean, me and Jesse walked over there, had a beer, went back to the facilities tour, went back, got some food, got a beer. Food's great. Shout out to Woods Chapel Barbecue, really good pork nachos. But there wasn't anybody there. I know it was a Thursday night, but in my opinion, it's the ideal spot for lunch before you start tailgating, and then post game to go watch the late games or whatever you're going to do. But it's just something's not matching up, and they're not intertwining with each other. But a lot of potential, a lot of potential there at Georgia State. But yeah, I can't say enough about the facilities. I mean, well, one other thing, really cool. The entire football staff works out together.
I knew you were going to bring this up.
Does the football workouts. So
he says staff. He's not just talking about the coaches.
I'm talking like the recruiting girls. I'm talking all the operations. Yeah. Jenny was like, yeah, Coach Elliott makes us work out too. So like I'm in here doing power cleans and stuff. Yeah.
The whole staff is in there at the same time working out.
That's epic.
Yeah. So pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of potential. It's just not being recognized yet by that city. So it'll get there. They got to win. They got to win some games. But they're a lot better than their 0-4 record, in my opinion, too. Statesboro.
Ready to piss off some people, Sprouse? 2 people. We're probably going to talk a lot more about Georgia Southern than we did Georgia State, and App State's about to be like WTF, because Georgia Southern was fantastic.
Yeah. And there's too many. I'm going to try to shout out everybody. I mean, William at the Southern Exchange got it started. He's got probably the best collegiate apparel store that we've seen. Terry Harvin kind of put the whole thing together for us. Sergeant Friedel with the National Guard is the reason that we got introduced to any of these people. Lenny Bevel, that guy owns Statesboro.
He's my
Daryl Lynn. What was the name of the barbecue guy? Bubba Hunt, something like that. I mean, they showed us. I mean, they rolled out the red carpet for us, man, and we weren't really expecting that. We weren't asking for that, but they treated us incredibly. I mean, from the minute we got there, I mean, we got to the tailgate at 1 o'clock for a 6 o'clock game, and there was never a time when we were empty-handed, whether it be with barbecue, whether it be with fried chicken, beer, whatever. I mean, that tailgate, they got that big parking lot, the blue lot, we come to find out. I mean, there's flags everywhere, tents everywhere. Everybody's smoking meats. I can't say enough about it. I mean, it was fantastic. We're riding around in a golf cart. I mean, this guy Terry knows every single human being in Statesboro. Poor guy keeps getting stopped. He can't even sit down to relax for a second. But unbelievable, man.
Thousands of people. Just imagine thousands of people in a huge green lot, and that was just probably an eighth of the tailgating going on.
Yep.
But I thoroughly enjoyed getting into the stadium and seeing that stadium fill up and everybody staying there the whole game.
Yep.
Ball State comes in there. Ball State played Georgia Southern hella good. I mean, hell, from the first kickoff,
it was a tight game.
Drilled them. And it was so much fun. Just the atmosphere compared to what we saw last year. And I don't know if that's Coach Helton, if he's just got everybody on board, but it is just it's a way different environment than it was last year. Granted, last year it was near the end of the year, they only had like 2 or 3 wins, and it was freaking freezing rain.
Pouring rain, yeah.
But this was awesome.
This is their homecoming too, wasn't it?
It was.
It was their homecoming. That's a good point.
Well, I knew when I went to the spring game a couple years ago, and there was a pretty good spring crowd. I kind of they were telling me about it, and I kind of got that feeling, but it was better than I think either of us could have expected. I mean, and they come out. I mean, we got a tailgate. We met Coach Helton's wife. We met Kyle Van Treese's parents. Were out there tailgating. Then the team comes through. They're a lot more. A lot of people were commenting on it. They're a lot more professional than they've been. They still use the yellow school buses, but now they've all got to wear the same matching stuff. Nobody's jumping on top of school buses anymore.
I told that joke like 30 times there, and no one laughed.
Nobody laughed.
I was like throwing a beer on to the guys on the bus. I'm like, we don't do that here. I said,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, so we got to hang out. Lenny's just taking us all around the stadium. Just he's got the key to the city. We met the AD. I mean, of course, saw Turner West. You guys know Turner. Great dude. Met his in-laws. Everything. I mean, everything was just it could not have went better. It really couldn't have. And just being able to watch the game kind of on that, they've got on the field suites, they call them. So it's like a little tailgate tent with a TV and couches. Right behind the end zone, and watching that game in there. I mean, we're jumping up and down, hugging everybody, going crazy at touchdowns. And I mean, they welcomed us as if we were Georgia Southern alumni.
The student body there too.
Where are you going with this, Grish?
they're like they got really good students.
Today, Junior.
They have really good students there. That's all I can really say.
Things too, in Nat's Landing is an incredible bar. They've built, since we went there last, they've built a little rooftop bar area, which is where we were most of the time before and after the game, watching the games. They've got an indoor facility coming. It's going to be like UAB's, that pavilion style. But one of the things on that we've not seen anywhere else is they're going to have tailgating suites. So essentially you can have an open air box set up at a tailgate. So where you can put all your stuff in there, lock it up. It's going to have the TV, and it's attached to the indoor, which is right there next to the stadium. It's right there next to the parking lot where the tailgates happen. I mean, they're set up. They've already got the support, and they're winning sooner than I think anybody expected to win with Coach Helton there. And they are on board. I mean, I'm fairly certain the people we were tailgating and watching the game with are a lot of the donor money, and they're all about it. I mean, they are all about it. That whole city was shut down for that game. It was incredible, man. And Ball State, I mean, they played a good game. They were a lot smaller up front than we were expecting.
I could not believe how little they were.
Yeah, from a MAC school.
Could not believe it.
But they played well. Yeah, I mean, can't say enough about it. All the people there, if we missed you, sorry, but thanks a bunch, man. We had a hell of a time. Anyway, that's enough of that. Yeah, App State, sorry, man. We like Georgia Southern maybe as much as we like App State. And
they're not gonna.
Well, we gotta get Jeff and Tip down there now.
Yeah, we gotta get everybody down there.
Y'all absolutely just
yeah. It's a phenomenal time, man. Phenomenal time. Let's get into a bunch of good teams we talked about in the fan and tailgate performances. You guys got a top player performance from week 4. I always start with you, Jess. What you got?
Well, let's jump over to the MAC real quick, and let's talk about quarterback Curtis Rourke. Guy throws for 537 yards this past weekend, 4 touchdowns, had an 82% completion percentage. Went 41 for 50. It was against Fordham. It was a high-scoring game, so kudos to that young man right there.
Yeah, school passing record I saw he set with that game. That's incredible. I was looking at that stat, and I was like, I thought it was his season stat.
I had to double look at it.
And then it said this game, and I was like, oh, good Lord. Good. Yeah. Tip, what about you?
I got a couple. Western Kentucky's quarterback, Austin Reed, that offense is starting to look really good. He had 381 passing yards and 5 touchdowns against FIU. And I'm going to give a shout-out to Troy's defense. They held Marshall to only 174 total yards of offense and 7 points. They had 5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, and a fumble return for the touchdown. So, I had to give a shout-out to Troy's defense. Great game against Marshall.
I am going to admit something. Jesse, you'll really enjoy this. I was way off on Florida International. They got beat 73-0.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy that because I have FIU winning a decent amount of games this year. I thought they would.
Well,
Whack,
anyway,
whack,
they got New
whack.
Mexico State this week, so they got a chance, but they're 2 touchdown dogs in that game too.
Mm-hmm.
So, Murph, what about you? Who you got?
And I got to start off with the boy, Chase Cunningham, 408 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 29 yards on the ground, and a rushing touchdown. That's a hell of a day, 4 touchdowns total. And then one more, Lane Hatcher, 27 for 41, 362, and 4 tugs. I know it was against Houston Christian, formerly known as Houston Baptist. I guess they're changing their name. Don't know. Denominational change, I'm not sure, but they did what they're supposed to do against Houston Christian. So I think they're figuring some things out down there in San Marcos. I think they're getting ready to make a run.
They're at James Madison this week, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
About
they
to
are.
find out. Yeah, you guys hit everybody I was going to hit. Just a shout out to South Alabama as a team. Scored on offense, defense, and special teams. They just keep flying under the radar over there in the Sun Belt West, but they're looking really good.
I have one more because I don't know if this is actually a good performance or just being at the right spot, the right time twice. But DJ England Chisholm, with he 2 catches, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Burner.
Unbelievable stat.
Oh, man. They're still chasing after him.
I thought Jesse was going to mention Ben Bryant. That's what I thought he was going to. Ben Bryant had a good game. He had 354 passing yards, 4 touchdowns against Indiana. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Jesse's guy.
Yeah, my guy lost. I like my Eastern Michigan lost. So,
what's the score? 3-2?
Yeah, well, I'm losing.
And really one of yours.
It's really not a win. It shouldn't be a win.
I don't understand how it's not.
Well, they took him out in order to win.
He started.
Exactly.
So if a guy starts for the Braves and someone comes and relieves him with 8th and 9th inning, he still gets the win.
Only if they were already winning.
Yeah, well, they were.
They weren't.
Non-conference schedule.
Hey, we already talked about it earlier. If you guys want to support the Group of 5 guys, everybody got after it when we were talking about giving away a hoodie. Look, they're only like $30. Go to group5guys.com. You can buy one. You can buy it in your team color: green, yellow, red, blue, purple. I think there's a purple one on there if you're an ECU or James Madison kind of guy. Group of5guys.com. We see just a little cut of that. But as you guys all hopefully know, we all work full-time careers. So in order for us to pay for flights, hotels, rental cars, gas, all that good stuff, we could use some funds. Week 5, getting into a lot of conference play. There's a few pretty good non-conference games. I'll start first. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the coolest rivalry games in the country. Navy at Air Force at noon on Saturday. Air Force 16-point favorites in that game. Navy, although, coming off a big win this weekend. Jesse, what do you think on that one? Navy at Air Force minus 16.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go against Air Force right now. So I'm going to take Air Force minus 16. I think they're going to just make a statement. They'll win.
Tip.
By 16 and cover.
I'm going with Air Force as well, but I don't know about
16's a
covering
lot.
the 16. That is a lot. Wyoming had success running the ball against Air Force, and that was Air Force's only loss. And Air Force's defense gave up 180 rushing yards. Wyoming's running backs average 5.1 yards per carry against Air Force. So you can run on Air Force's defense. And what does Navy do? They run the football. So I think they'll have success running the ball against Air Force. And I think they're going to keep it close. So I think Air Force is going to win. But for betting, I would take Navy plus 16.
Yeah, if I could just play devil's advocate on that one a little bit. The run game in this game is, you could kind of throw it out the window because you really are running each other's stuff. So all camp, all season, all spring, it's not like you've really got to scout these guys a whole lot. But I am with you. That 16 is a lot of points because either of them may not get more than 6 or 7 series in this game. So that's a lot. Murph, what do you think on that game?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think 16 is a lot. I think when you have 2 teams that run that triple option, the clock just runs and runs and runs. So every possession is important. Air Force is going to win. I don't know. I'm not going to bet on that one.
This one here, this next game is, offense versus defense. Troy at Western Kentucky in a non-conference game. Western Kentucky, at the time that I put this together, was -6. Now, that may be moving. I'm not sure. Jesse, I'll go to you first. What do you think on that game?
I'm taking Troy. I'm taking Troy to get Western Kentucky in this, man. It's hard for me to go against the Trojans.
Straight up, money line.
Money line, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Tip?
This one's tough. I'm excited to see how Western Kentucky's offense goes up against Troy's defense. Troy's offense, I don't know, they just seem to be a little inconsistent. Last week against Marshall, they put up 420 total yards, but they didn't score any touchdowns. So they were driving down the field, getting in the red zone, and they couldn't score any touchdowns. It was field goals. You can't kick field goals and win against Western Kentucky. It's just it's not going to happen. I think because of Troy's inconsistency on offense, I'm going to go with Western Kentucky at home in this game, but I think Troy's defense can keep this game close.
Murph?
Yeah, I think Western at home, man, and I think that offense has kind of figured it out. I know it's against FIU, but when you're throwing the ball that much, and you had Malachi Corley had 3 catches for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I just don't know. They're going to spread you out, and that's the hardest thing when you have a team like Troy, that their linebackers are so good. Can they cover in space? Carlton Marshall is used to coming downhill, hitting running backs. I don't know how much run they're going to see. So Western's going to try and spread them out, make them run side on the sideline, and then take shots down the field. So I'm going to go Western at home in a very close one.
Jeff, you sold me a little bit there. I was going to ride with Troy. I think I'm still going to ride with Troy for no apparent reason, really, other than I like the defense. I love Coach Summerall. I think he's going to have them prepared, ready to go. Both of these teams also, even though this is a non-conference game, both of them have really big conference games next week. So could play a factor. I don't know. Troy's got Southern Miss. Western's got Middle, I believe. So other one, you guys are looking at the list here. A lot of big spreads. There's 0 Group of 5 versus Power 5 games, unless you want to count Utah State at BYU as that. Liberty -2.5 at Old Dominion to me is interesting. I like Old Dominion in that game. They've been playing some good teams tight, and Liberty's been a little bit inconsistent. You guys got any other games you're looking at on that list?
No, not really on that one. I do think ODU. I think they win that game at home. I think they play a lot better at home too.
Well, and for betting purposes, if people just want to win some easy money, take Eastern Michigan -20 over UMass. Not even trying to be funny. I mean, I think that's a lock.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Hey, going along the betting side of things, I noticed this one kind of stuck out to me. UConn opened up. Fresno State covered is favored by 24.5 against UConn at UConn. That has now since gone down to 22.5. I don't know the official status on Jake Haener, but he has a high ankle sprain from that USC game, right?
I don't think he's back yet.
I don't think he's going to play this game. And you got Fresno State having to travel across the country to UConn. And UConn hasn't really like they've looked good. They've looked pretty good this year. And Fresno State is 0-3 against the spread this year.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't followed UConn since that Utah State game, in which I was like, oh yeah, UConn's good. But then I think
Michigan beat them by 70. And then I think Syracuse beat them. It was like 65. But
yeah,
Syracuse beat them pretty bad too.
Yeah.
Just a rebuttal tip to them, because they played Utah State good, but I think Utah State's not that good this year.
My biggest thing is just Jake Haener might not be playing.
Yeah,
you're 1,000% on that.
I would say if you know for sure whenever
that travels
injury report comes out, if Haener, I mean, I'm a stay away from that game, just to be honest, because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some conference play. I think the Americans got some really good games. Too bad Tulane took that loss, because you got Tulane at Houston. Houston's favored. Jess, you still riding with the green wave?
Yeah, I am. I think Houston's just overrated this year, and I think this is going to tell a lot about Houston and Tulane. Houston's probably everybody in the country that doesn't fall Group of 5. I think Houston's going to win this game easily. It's probably be a lot of money taking the -3.5 bets, and this is the game where Vegas is going to win a lot of money. Because even if Tulane doesn't win, take plus 3.5. I think it's going to be a really good game. So I'm going with Tulane.
Tip.
Man, I picked Houston to win the American this year, so I'm going to pick Houston to win this game. But to me, this game has upset written all over it. I wouldn't be surprised if Tulane wins. I would go with it's now down. So if Houston was favored by 3.5, it's now down to 2.5. So like it's hovering right around there. But like I would take Tulane plus 3.5, whatever it ends up at. But yeah, I mean, Tulane has a good offense, and Tulane also has a good defense. Their defense has only given up 229 total yards per game, and they've only given up 12 points per game so far. So I'm excited to see Houston's defense go up against Houston's offense go up against Tulane's defense.
Yeah.
And Houston, I mean, their offense hadn't had any problem scoring points, but their defense has been giving up a lot of points. They've given up 36 points per game this season. So
what's the over in that? Because that's probably your easy bet right there, Tip, to take the over.
Yeah, let me look real fast, y'all. Keep go to Murph.
I agree with everything you just said. I'm going to pick Houston just because I had Houston go into the damn playoffs this year. But it wouldn't shock me at all. Houston's defense has been poor. So, Murph.
Offense wins championships. The old adage. I'm going to go with Houston. I think they beat them by double digits, if you want my honest opinion. Tashawn Henry had 7. You know what, Jesse? I don't say a darn word when you're talking. But every time I got something to say, you want to interrupt me. So why don't you just sit down? You had your turn and be quiet, son, okay? Tashawn Henry had 17 rushes, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, and Nate Dell had 7 catches for 134 and a touchdown last week. And I'm starting to think Rice is pretty damn good because that game was close, and they beat Louisiana. I think Rice is a lot better than people think, but I think Houston beats the Green Wave.
Tippy, you find that?
The over-under, I don't know what we're missing here. It's at 54.5.
Woo!
So I feel like that's kind of low. I
Take
feel like that's low.
Vegas knows.
So what is that?
They know something.
They know something.
Yeah. Somebody hurt? Something like that?
I don't know.
Well, they may think that Tulane's defense is going to step up against Houston.
They might. Temple at Memphis. Memphis 3 touchdown favorites. Memphis, another under the radar. They've been playing really well this year. I'm taking Memphis. Everybody, with that.
Yeah.
And then ECU is 8.5-point favorites at South Florida. South Florida, I want so bad to prove me right, but they have not at all. Are you guys all thinking ECU? ECU coming off an overtime loss to Navy, though. So
I still think ECU. I get them. I don't know about 8.5, but I think ECU gets them.
All right, and then Cincinnati's 11.5-point favorites at Tulsa. Cincinnati, you guys with that?
Absolutely.
No, I'll take Tulsa plus 11.5. No, not money line, but plus 11.5.
Money's coming in on Tulsa. It's at 9.5 right now.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I think because remember last year. I mean, it's like a rival game, so I like it.
Tulsa tends to play the American favorite tight every single year, always.
Yeah, you skipped the game.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know because that's the one that we probably
go back to
disagree on.
Well, can I have one just quick second on Cincy?
Yes, sir.
And I just want to give you one stat. Ben Bryant, 354 yards, 4 touchdowns last week. I think Cincinnati covers that easily.
I think Cincinnati doesn't cover that easily. I think that Ben Bryant probably throws 3 interceptions against Tulsa. And Davis Brin puts his nuts in his. I'm sorry. Let's go to the next one.
This should be the good game. SMU was pretty disappointing at home versus TCU this weekend. UCF beat Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech's pretty sorry, and they didn't. I mean, just absolutely manhandle them. They beat them pretty good, but at the time of this, UCF was -4 at home in this game. What do you got, Jess? You want to talk about it? I know.
When is this game? Is it Friday night by chance? Because usually UCF plays every freaking Friday night. I feel like every time I bet on them Friday night, they lose. You don't know? It don't matter.
It's a Saturday
I think this
game.
is a trap game for UCF. SMU just got embarrassed. I could see them going to UCF. Gus Malzahn, he's doing L real quick. So I'm seeing SMU comes in there, money line, SMU.
I agree with you. Yeah, Saturday 3:30. By the way, yeah, I'm with you. I think Tanner Mordecai throws it all over the place on UCF. I just don't trust UCF. They look good at times. They look awful at times. So I'm going SMU. Tip.
I agree with you guys. I like SMU a lot in this game. I think it is going to be a close game. It's going to be back and forth the whole game. But yeah, give me SMU on the road.
Murph.
I'm going to go Gus Bus here. I think Gus Malzahn has those boys ready. I didn't like what I saw out of SMU last week. I think they get the win at home.
All right. Well, yeah, that should be a good one. I think that's going to be that's an ESPN game, 3:30, I believe.
Sprouse, going back real quick to East Carolina.
Yep.
It'd be interesting just to keep an eye on Keaton Mitchell. I don't know if he's hurt or not. He only had 5 carries against Navy last week. I think he's the X factor.
How many plays did they run against Navy last week? Not to put you on the spot there, and not to say 5 is
34 passing attempts and
something must have happened to him.
So they were giving it to what's the other guy's name?
Raji Harris. Yeah, he had 15 carries. Yeah, Keaton Mitchell was third. And I didn't see I didn't notice that until this morning. Yeah, just something to keep an eye on. I don't know if it's injury related or what, but
I want South Florida. I mean, they looked pretty good against Florida, but that's about it for this year. Going to Conference USA, the one that's top on the list. Hold off for a second. You got FAU -4 at North Texas. You got UTEP -3 at Charlotte. UAB -10.5 at Rice. Any of those you guys looking like are locks? I'm kind of looking at that UTEP at Charlotte game.
Charlotte money line at home
with Chris
UTEP's
Reynolds back.
Yep,
that's right.
Yep.
I think Rice is going to give UAB a run for their money. Honestly, it's at home for Rice. UAB, same thing, has looked good at times, has not looked good at other times, and I think Rice is playing some pretty good football. They lost to Houston last week. I think Rice might take them down.
I like Rice a lot in that game, especially if Rice gets up on them early. We talked about it last week or the week before, but UAB, they're not built on offense to come back on offense. They want to run the ball. They want to try and get ahead and just run the ball the whole game. If Rice gets up on them early, they win that ball game.
Jesse's going to have an aneurysm. Go.
First off, get the hell out of here with Rice beating UAB. Not meant to come back, jumping on the grenade. No, UAB is going to destroy Rice. I'm not.
Everybody write that down just in case.
UTEP. I got to give credit where credit's due. So I'm going to reach out and give a shout out to Swag Bear for saying how UTEP was going to beat Boise State's ass back in the summertime. And I got real big criticism from the guy in the bottom left screen over there, which was Jeff Murphy. UTEP, good ball club, good offense. Charlotte, yes, they have the golden child back, yes. But I saw what FAU did to them the first quarter when they had them. I like UTEP at Charlotte. Great student section. Not going to happen. Will Healy, sorry, UTEP.
I also
on the flip side of that though, Bachmeier and that Boise State offense look terrible.
Yeah, they fired the offensive coordinator, I believe.
And Bachmeier's in the transfer portal, so Boise State's clean.
Wow.
I also, and I was wrong about this preseason. I think FAU beats North Texas pretty handily.
I do too.
They about beat Purdue this weekend. They should have. But the game of the week, boys, Friday night, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Johnny Red Floyd Stadium, 32,000 screaming Blue Raider fans better be in attendance for that game. UTSA Roadrunners coming in. Jeff Traylor's got a lot of respect for this Blue Raider team. He talked about how he believes UTSA was the springboard for Chase Cunningham's career at quarterback. Because that's the game he came in. He said they were up big. Cunningham came in, threw 2 touchdowns right away and made it a little bit close. UTSA was a touchdown favorite at the time of me putting this together. I don't know what it is now. 4. I don't like that at all.
Money is coming in on the Blue Raiders, boys.
I don't
course
like
they
that at all.
are.
Who do you TSA play this past weekend? Oh, I got to know that. Short week for Middle.
Your biased
typical,
Power 5 fans are seeing that, hey, they beat Miami's
what they
ass,
think.
and that's what they're doing.
UTSA
Yeah.
beat Texas Southern, but it was close for like I want to say in the first half. And they pulled away late.
In typical Group of 5 fashion, Middle Tennessee would come out and lay an egg here. That would be the standard thing to do. Now, if I may, before we go into predicting this game, all right, Middle Tennessee fans that have been on Murph and Swagbear's Twitter, that have been on the message boards, that have been on gomiddle.com saying, well, we want to go. We won't go until they start winning. Here you go. You just beat. It's easily the best win versus the biggest brand name that Middle Tennessee has ever beaten, in my opinion. You've got the preseason favorite and probably still the favorite to win Conference USA coming to your house. It's Friday night, national television. There's no excuses to not fill that stadium up. And on the flip side, if and when they do that, Blue Raiders, you got to put on a show. I'm not telling you got to win the game or you got to blow them out or anything like that. You've got to put on an exciting football game for these people, and they'll keep coming back. We thought the Blue Raiders would be lucky to be 2-2 coming into this game. And they're sitting there at 3-1, and it's not the wins that we expected them for the most part. Man, UTSA is good, though. I don't like it. I don't like that the money's going to Middle Tennessee either. That's what I don't like. Jess, what do you think?
I'm normally the biggest hater, or try to be the realist for MTSU, and I will give this
Hater
guy
was right.
Hater. I usually give this guy hell, but you said we all thought it'd be lucky to be at 2-2. I think Jeff Murphy had it in his heart they're going to be 4-0. So I think Jeff had wins, built up. Now, what I'd say about this game is I know for a fact MTSU is about to show out on Friday because I think the fans are going to be there. The students are going to be there. Just from watching that game on Friday, there's a lot of noise on social media about this game. I think MTSU, Johnny Red Floyd is going to be pretty packed, and from a student's perspective on as well. I think it's going to be loud, and I think MTSU is going to show up, and I think MTSU is going to beat UTSA on Friday, and it's going to be a great victory for Rick Stockstill.
Tip?
I am really nervous about MTSU's secondary against these UTSA wide receivers. MTSU, and I know it was week 1, first game of the year, but they had trouble with Chris Thornton from James Madison. He had 11 catches, 145 yards, and 3 touchdowns against MTSU in that week 1 matchup. Now they're going up against Zachary Franklin, Joshua Cephas, DeCorian Clark. All 3 of those guys are averaging over 98 receiving yards per game. But something Murph mentioned earlier, I really like MTSU's D-line in this matchup, and they're going to have to put pressure on Frank Harris while also limiting his rushing to succeed and play well in this game. I'm riding the momentum from these last 3 weeks. Give me MTSU at home in a hopefully packed, sold-out Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. And from an over-under standpoint, it's 63. I'm going to go the over. I think this game's going to be a shootout.
Murph, I'm going to go to you last because I'm sure you're going to have. I mean, I have to pick the Blue Raiders. I have to here. If Middle wins, I think this is a very close game. If UTSA wins, it could get a little bit ugly. And I misspoke earlier. I said Zachary Franklin is not a statue. I meant Frank Harris, the quarterback. That's what scares me about this game because even when the D-line does put pressure on him, he can make plays where neither of the 2 Miami quarterbacks are capable of that. Man, oh man. But I mean, dude, Chase Cunningham's a baller, dude. He's like
dog.
He is a former walk-on, right? Am I right on that? He reminds me, I'm going to say this could be a controversial take here. Even the way he kind of looks, he reminds me of old boy from Georgia, that he just doesn't really look the part. He just is out
talking about
there.
Grammar?
No, Stetson Bennett.
Oh,
The Georgia quarterback. He's just like not really supposed to be there, maybe, but that guy makes plays, man. He makes plays with his arm, with his legs. That O-line's been protecting him, which has been suspect over the last couple years. I got to ride with the Raiders just because I have to, but I wouldn't be putting any kind of money on this game. I will say that. Murph, how many yards is Chase Cunningham throwing for?
he had his first 400-yard game of his career last week. I don't think he gets to 400. I think he's in the 300 range. I think what this game is going to be one for the Blue Raiders is the D-line. I think Jordan Ferguson, Dunnigan, Quindarius Dunnigan, Zaylen Wood, they are going to show up like they have the last 3 games. They're going to get pressure on Frank Harris. And I'll tell you who's been playing great football for the Blue Raiders, Decorian Patterson, their cornerback number 33. I think they're going to put him on Zachary Franklin. The biggest thing is those off-schedule plays. They have got to keep Frank Harris contained and not let him get outside. Scott Schaefer, I think, has done a good job game planning the last 3 weeks. I think he's going to come up with a good game plan. I really do. And I think Chase Cunningham, Frank Pizant, DJ England Chisholm, Jalen Lane, they got some explosive guys on the outside, and they got a big guy in Isaiah Gathings in the middle. I think Blue Raiders get it done, boys. I think they answer the bells. This is, like you said, Sprouse, this is normally a game where you have the big win and you have the typical Blue Raider letdown. I think Stock's going to have these guys ready, I believe.
Middle Tennessee offense reminds me of the best team in the NFL right now, and that's the Miami Dolphins, in the fact that they've got 2 burners, and then they've got the big guy, and what's his name? Gathings. I don't know, man.
Does he not remind y'all of Chris Reynolds at all? That's who I always
Cunningham?
Yeah. I feel like he's like a
He
Reynolds
does,
guy.
but I'm going to be honest, he's a better passer than Chris Reynolds. I mean, he has made some throws the last couple of weeks that Chase Cunningham's a real deal. He can. And what I love is it's not just his first, like it's not his first read, because everybody can just go to one guy and throw a good ball. He's getting to his second and third read, making good decisions. When he needs to throw the ball away, when it's not there, he's throwing the ball away. So that's the biggest.
He's getting
thing.
to his second and third read. He must be getting good protection by the O-line.
He is. He has at least the last 3 weeks. Week 1, he did not.
Shout out to Mike Pauly on that. And they're also retiring Kevin Byard's jersey, I think, at halftime for that game. So
Yep.
Oh,
Show up.
shoot.
if
Show
Byard
up.
and Byard better be bringing all his Titans buddies out there. This is going to be like a damn celebrity fest there in Murfreesboro.
It's going to be awesome.
If I didn't have to play golf and schmooze with a bunch of business people on Friday, I'd be taking the trek up there. I might cancel it. Maybe we'll get a little weather here, cancel the golf tournament now.
That'd be great.
Head to the borough Friday night.
Is it going to be wet? That's actually a really good point. I mean, is it
It's
going
not
to be a
showing
hurricane
rain.
weather?
It's not showing rain right now.
It is supposed to rain here in Georgia Friday, so I think it's going to be a day late as far as weather goes. Now, I don't know who the weather helps. So that might help UTSA. I don't know. But that's it for Conference USA. We'll go to the MAC. The MAC, look at all these lines. 3.5, 7, 6, 1, 7. Those are your lines for the MAC.
They're all like 2 and 2 right now.
Dude.
They're all
That's
picking.
MAC football, baby.
I don't know where to go. I'm gonna give you one that I think I don't even know, dude. I like Miami, Ohio at Buffalo. I think Miami, Ohio wins that game. Buffalo's at the time of this was a 1-point favorite. That may have moved. Maybe a pick 'em now. They're like I said, they're playing well even without the quarterback. I'm looking at. I don't know who. I wouldn't even know who to pick in any of these games.
I'm intrigued by that NIU Ball State game. To be honest, both teams are 1-3 going into this game. Big game for both of these teams, and I mean NIU's got a lot of pressure on this game. I think. I mean they were, I think we all picked them to win the MAC this year. After they're returning so many starters, and right now I don't know if he's going to play or not. But Rocky Lombardi, their quarterback, was out last week. He didn't play against Kentucky, but their freshman quarterback Ethan Hampton played really well, and they only lost to Kentucky by 8 points. But Ball State's looked good, in these recent games. And I'm excited to watch their offense play, but I think NIU is just the better overall team. So I'd pick NIU in this game.
Yeah. Jesse, you were going to say that same game?
Yeah, everything he really just said. I think NIU, they Ball State, not to talk trash, they really didn't impress me against Georgia Southern. They're just really small, and I think they've got a lot of losses under their belt now. So NIU, I think they're going to bounce back, and they'll cover that 3.5 spread.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Murph, you got any game you're looking at in the MAC?
Yeah, this Toledo Central Michigan game. I think Toledo Central Michigan has just not looked good, and I think Toledo can score some points. I think they cover that 7.
Yeah, I like it. Murph, you've got a commercial for us to read, huh?
I do. We got a new partner, boys and girls. Southern Roots Radio. So they're an online radio station. You can find them at southernroots.com, at Southern Roots Radio. I'm sorry, southernrootsradio.com, and their social media handles at Southern Roots Radio. They're going to be playing our shows Wednesdays, 5:30 Central Time, and Saturdays, 8 a.m. Central Time. So if you're looking for a great radio station, and their tagline is connecting the storytelling and twang from classic Music Row, the grit and blues from Beale Street, and the rhythm and soul coming out of the singing river of Muscle Shoals. It's great Americana music. Check them out, man. Throw that on when you're just hanging around. It's great music. And if you want to catch our show, Wednesdays at 5:30, Saturdays at 8 a.m. Central Time.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate them putting us on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All you Blue Raider fans, hell, you just got to put on the radio and listen to us. Half this show is about y'all. So
yeah, you just go to their website, and anybody can listen, not just in Middle Tennessee. So play it straight from their website.
Moving on to the Mountain West, you got 3 conference games. San Diego State at Boise State. Boise -5. That may be different after coach firing, quarterback transferring. New Mexico at UNLV. UNLV 15-point favorites. San Jose State at Wyoming. Wyoming -1. What do you think? Any upsets? Anything locks, Jess?
I'm going to take Wyoming -1 over San Jose State. Something about them Cowboys. Lost my voice. Something about them Cowboys. They're showing out this year. Had a rough start, but I like the way they're playing ball, so I'm going to go Wyoming.
Tip.
Let's talk about UNLV real quick.
Yes,
boys.
sir.
I love this team. I love me some Doug Brumfield and some Aiden Robbins in this offense, man. They are rolling. They look good. I don't think anyone except maybe this team could think they would be at 3-1 right now at this point in the season, but they look good, and I think they're going to cover that 15 points against New Mexico.
Yeah, I can't say enough about UNLV, man. Aiden Robbins, he's probably going to run the ball all over them. I like that one too. Murph, there's only one other game. What do you think?
Yeah, the game that I was looking for is that UNLV game. And I'm going to take San Diego State at Boise State. Boise State does not look good. I don't know what's going on over there, but the potato poppers ain't popping anything this season.
No, they are not.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, San Diego State started slow. They've looked a little bit better lately. Yeah, Boise is in shambles right now. So we'll see what it looks like on the blue turf in that one. Sun Belt, you never know what's going to happen in this conference. 3 of us, everybody but Jesse, really love Texas State. They're at James Madison. 3 touchdown dogs in that game. Georgia Southern going to Coastal's interesting. South Alabama at Louisiana. And then La Monroe is at Arkansas State. Jess, which one are you looking at? What do you think?
One I'm actually looking at the most is probably Georgia Southern at Coastal, just because we saw both these teams play this past weekend. Man, as much as I love Georgia Southern, Coastal, that offense was very, very good. Georgia Southern defense, they look a little suspect sometimes going against Miami, Ohio. Just for that fact, I think Georgia Southern will be able to score some on Coastal, but I'm taking Coastal, but I'm taking it in a close one, +10 Georgia Southern.
I like it. Tip.
Yeah, I agree with what Jesse was saying with that game. I know we're all going to talk about it, but this South Alabama at Louisiana game. So it opened up South Alabama as 6-point favorites. That has jumped up to 9-point favorites now. South Alabama has a chance to go 4-1 with this win. Louisiana can get back on track with a win after losing to La Monroe last week. Our Louisiana fans aren't going to want to hear this, but South Alabama has a really good football team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback Carter Bradley has had a good season so far, and I think that success continues this week against a Louisiana team that they've looked off the last 2 weeks. I think Louisiana, though, I think they come in and play well because they are hungry for a win in this game, and they know how important this game is. But I'm going to go with South Alabama in this game. But I think Louisiana keeps it close, so I would, with where it's at right now, 9 points. I'd take Louisiana +9.
Murph?
Game that I'm looking at is the first one on the list. Texas State at James Madison. James Madison is 19.5-point favorites. I think Lane Hatcher has figured some things out. I think he's getting more and more comfortable in this offense. I think it's going to be a close game. I really do. I think James Madison wins, but I think it's a whole lot closer than people think. I think South Alabama beats Louisiana by 2 scores. South Alabama's playing some good football right now, and they're going to keep that thing rolling. And then look out for Arkansas State. Arkansas State has been playing actually really well. They I had it right here. They almost beat ODU last week. So look out for Arkansas State to get a couple.
They have some good talent.
Yeah,
they got some good talent on that team.
Yeah, I think they beat Monroe, and I think they cover the 9.5.
Well, we all know, living in the state of Tennessee for so long, we know Butch Jones can recruit. We know that because the Volunteers have been talking about that since 1999. But yeah, I'm with you. I like Arkansas State. I think they're slowly but surely building. It's just a matter of, can they catch up to the rest of these teams in the Sun Belt?
Yeah.
But I do like Arkansas State in that game. Jess, you were raising your hand.
Yeah, I got one more. I'm just going to go out and say this because Group of 5 football, you never know what's going to happen each week. I'm going to say Louisiana bounce back, and they're going to just beat South Alabama's money line. I can just see it happening. And then Louisiana's going to call us. We're going to have like 15 voicemails. Terry's going to be over himself. He's going to be over through the moon. And I just see it. South Alabama probably let down, goes to Louisiana, upset.
I could see that. I could see that happening. Before we end the show, we always like to give you a couple players to watch out for. Again, brought to you by Prize Picks. If you download the app, first time deposit, they will match you up to $100. All you got to do is put in, I think, $10, and they'll match the $10 too. So don't feel like you got to go in there and drop $100 real fast. But use our code GOFG. I'm going to start. This player is not even technically Group of 5, but I'm going to go Army running back Tyrell Robinson going against Georgia State. We watched on Thursday night. They cannot stop the option. Tyrell Robinson averaging over 10 yards a carry on the season. So look out for that to continue this weekend at home versus Georgia State. Tip, who do you got?
I have quite a few that I like this week. I'm taking the over in anything and everything that I can possibly find in this UTSA MTSU game. Frank Harris, his current rushing yards line is at 37.5. Last year, Frank Harris against MTSU had 56 rushing yards. So I'm going to go the over on that. Frank Harris, 22.5 pass completions. Last year against MTSU, he had 24. So give me the over on that as well. Murph mentioned this a little earlier. He said Chase Cunningham's going to go for at least 300 passing yards. I agree. His current passing yards line is at 228.5. Give me the over, please. Thank you. And then UNLV wide receiver Ricky White, his current receiving yards line right now is at 69.5. He's averaging 79 receiving yards per game this season. So give me the over. And then our boy UNLV running back Aiden Robbins, 82.5 rushing yards. He's averaging 107 rushing yards per game this season. So give me the over on that. And then the old reliable Tank Dell, 5.5 receptions.
Oh, yeah.
He's averaging 6 per game. Give me the over.
Yeah, I love going on those reception totals. Those are great because they're catching all them little stupid fast screens count too.
Yep.
Jess, who you got?
Oh, mine's quick. Jeff sold me on it earlier. Chase Cunningham, 225 yards, 223 yards, 228.
228.5. Yeah.
Over, whatever. Jeff sold me on that one. So take that. Easy money.
Murph?
Yeah, I got one for sure. Tip covered a lot of them. Austin Reed, Western Kentucky quarterback. I think he's going to have a huge day against Troy. I think they're going to try and spread him out. whatever Austin Reed's passing yards are, go over.
Take it. All right. Well, that's all we got for you guys tonight. Week 5, getting into conference play. Things start to matter a little bit more right now. Stick with your teams, man. Don't give up on it. Every single team can still win your conference. So just don't give up on them just yet. Group of 5 guys, we are on every social media platform at Group of 5 guys. Make sure y'all like and subscribe and leave comments on YouTube. And give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to group5guys.com. Pick you up some Group of 5 Guys merch. We will see you next week.